Have you ever created something musically or artistically that you were once proud of, but then to look back on said thing years later and just wonder, what was I doing? I've been drawing fake Pokemon for years, and I've decided to go back and review all the ones that I drew many years ago, just because they're interesting. Welcome to DeadBedSpread's Fakémon Reviews, starring me, DeadBedSpread. In today's episode, we're gonna be looking at some spiky boys, bouncy boys, bat boys, and crab boys. None of that creepy bunny stuff from last time. Never again. No. No! First on today's list, we have number 37, Sledge Hog, a combination of the words sledgehammer and hedgehog. This spiky boy has the dual type of ground fighting, cause it lives on the ground and it punches people with its giant, grotesque hands. Oh my Christ, what the fuck? Totally not obvious is that Sledge Hog's body shape is based off the OG Yellow Boy, but it more so just looks like a sack of potatoes with feet. It's not a great design, but it's not awful by any stretch. Except those hands. Oh my god. When Sledge Hog is leveled up near Training Rock, which I guess is similar to the Moss and Ice Rock, but for fighting types, sorry everybody, no fighting type evolution in this dex, it'll evolve into Porcupinch, a combination of porcupine and punch. Oh yeah, that makes sense. A hedgehog that turns into a porcupine. Porcupines are rodents. Hedgehogs aren't. Good job, me. So what's going on here? Well, gone are the big ugly sausage hands and replaced with spiked boxing gloves. Think Wolverine with boxing gloves on. Oh wait, that happened. Oh god. At a glance, Porcupinch is much cooler than its pre-evolution, but when you actually look at it properly, the problems come through. While Sledge Hog was short and stubby, it still looks like a punch from it would do a lot of damage. Porcupinch, minus the fist spikes, is so lanky and gangly looking. Imagine if it punched something, getting its spikes stuck in it. It's much more likely that it would get dragged around by its hand than be able to pull it back out. Also, it has no neck. Again, it's not the best, but it's not terrible. In the last video, I teased that we would have a new type showing up. You mean the video that you made nearly a year ago? Well, the bearer of that new type is Blabla, who is purely the sound type. I started this fake dex before Generation 6 when light and sound were rumoured, and hell, I still want them as types. Blabla is a combination of the words blah and bwam. The inspiration for this guy was literally the sound type being a thing. It's a speaker, but like, it also has a little pink man ball thing. For the first sound type in the dex, nothing about this guy stands out. What a shame. When exposed to the Vibrance Stone, which is basically like the Water, Fire, Grass, and Thunder Stones, but for sound types, Blabla evolves into Bladabwam, a combination of the words blah, dubstep, and bwam. This evolution is literally just an expansion of the last idea. Small pink blob with one speaker, big pink blob with multiple. The only thing worse than a bad design is a boring one, and unfortunately, that's all this line is. Sorry guys. Like stated in previous episodes, my fake dex lines up with the original Pokedex. So when we reach number 41, Zubat, I created my own bat, Batuk. Batuk is a combination of the words bat and hook. I guess subtly Tuk fits in there too, because, you know, it could steal stuff with its tail. Huh. Interestingly, Batuk is a pure flying type, which was because it always annoyed me that there were no pure flying types until Tornadus, and that thing didn't even have wings. The similarities between Batuk and Zubat are obvious, but something super odd was that in Fire Red and Leaf Green, I always saw Zubat's ears as being eyes for some reason. I don't know why, but that's something which I translated into this design. Yep, it's got ear-shaped eyes, but then where are its ears? When Batuk reaches level 34, it evolves into Batal, a combination of bat and battle. I guess you could also work Talon in there. Again, with the subtleness, very clever past me. Unlike Batuk, Batal no longer resembles the Zubat family, instead being its own thing. Its eyes and ears blend together in a sort of cool way, and it has additional hooks on its wings. You know, it's fine, it's grand, it'll do, it's okay, it's alright, yeah. Coming in last on today's list is Pebble Ice, a combination of Pebble, Light, and I guess Might. Despite looking like an insect, this thing is pure rock type. What is it? Well, It's a rock with 6 legs and eyes and a weird fuchsia colored back. You know, I don't know what this thing is meant to be, it just is what it is. When Pebble reaches level 20, it evolves into Gravelump, a combination of gravel and lump. What on earth is this thing? It may not look obvious from a first glance, but I can maybe explain what it is, as, you know, I did draw it. Located on either side of it are its arms, which protrude out in front of it. It glares out from under its shell of, debris, I guess. Like, I don't even know what it's meant to be. What's this big U-shape on it? Who knows? When Gravelump reaches level 34, and is leveled up indoors, for some reason, it evolves into Boulderuff, a combination of boulder and rough. I don't know why it gets its name from those two things, because Boulderuff isn't a boulder at all. It's a chimney crab. This new feature to its body has resulted in it gaining the poison type. Rock Poison is still a type that we don't have if you discount Nilago, the Ultra Beast. I'm not too sure, but I seem to recall this one being the first one I designed, and then making the 2 pre-evolutions just to make it seem that much cooler, like harder to get, you know? I mean, as a design, it's certainly original, even if the fuchsia pattern does resemble something a little less family-friendly. To those of you not familiar, this is the part of the video where I go back through each Fakémon and attempt to redesign them to make them better. So, let's take a look at Sledge Hog. Sledge Hog, regardless of its flaws, was a concept that I was super proud of back in the day, so I've actually taken to redesigning it. This design is much more focused and concise, and thank God the chubby demon fingers are nowhere to be seen. Living in isolation, Sledge Hog are very territorial, rushing out of their burrows to smash anything that disturbs them. Very rarely they can be observed moving in unison towards a peculiar rock in the Erna region. Also, yeah, by the way, I'm working on a new dex and region, I don't know if I mentioned that. Sledge Hog now evolves when leveled up near Challenge Rock, which you may remember from the Unova region. I mean, it was there already, so why not use it? Porcupine is now almost unrecognizable. Once gangly and lanky, it is now defined and chiseled. Porcupine are vain by nature, often flexing and showing off to passerby. Do not let this fool you, however. These Pokemon are extremely savage and will tear apart anything they deem as a threat. Also, it actually has quills now, like a porcupine. Okay, Blabla. One of the most uninspired designs of my original Fake decks. Let's break this down. It's pink, spherical, and the sound type. Okay. If we take away the speaker, what makes this thing sound type? Nothing. So, what's pink and spherical and makes noise? Bubblegum, when you pop it. In this redesign, Blabla can blow up and explode its own head. And as for Blabla, it could probably also do the same thing with its hands, and it can have like chewing gum wrappers in place of the speakers. I don't know, it's something. What's a man to do? There actually already exists a redesign for the Batuk line, but it was never finalized. Batuk no longer heavily resembles Zubat, but now very slightly resembles Golbat. It has a much simpler, focused design, and its wings are even shaped like hooks too. How radical! Batal's changes come from a combination of its original design and being the evolution of the new Batuk. Its overall design is less spooky, scary. As the Batuk line is influenced by Zubat, it only makes sense for there to be an added second evolution, in the form of Batastrophe. A combination of the words bat and catastrophe. I don't know if this thing will gain a second type, because, you know, it never got past being a concept. Finally, for the Pebble Ice line, we're gonna stick to the original concept, with Boulderuff still being a chimney crab thing. So Pebble Ice will now resemble, keyword, resemble, an ashtray, with its legs having cigarette patterns. It could store pebbles in the tray, which it could shoot out in cases of emergency, you know. You know, it gets picked up by something, BAM! Rocks in your face. Gravelump, I don't know, will just have to be like a transition between the other two. Like a larval stage, maybe? Wait. A transitional stage between two man-made objects. That's not a larval stage. That can be construction or something. So we can use like one of those construction bricks. I don't know. I mean, they're hollow, so it kind of fits the theme barely. Boulderuff will now heavily resemble a chimney more than a crab. I think a cool feature would be that it can relocate itself under its shell so it can actually just peer out from any side. Heck, this thing may look a bit like Stakataka. God damn you Game Freak, always ripping me off. Yeah! Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I know it's, what's it been since the last one of these? Like 11 months? No, I got super bogged down. I had recorded this episode before, but I just kind of wanted to change the format a bit. Let me know if you guys like the changes. This is also the first one in the series that's actually been scripted. Like, I always had an idea of what to say for the other ones, but for this one I actually wrote down paragraphs and stuff. Let me know if you noticed. For anyone subscribed to me because of the loot block, that'll be back very soon. Don't worry about it. As always, guys, your support is appreciated. You can find all these guys on my DeviantArt. It's under the same name as my YouTube channel, DeadBedSpread. Come on!